right, so this is summer 2017, paper 1, variant to the one that we have locally. All right, so what is it saying? Which of piece of apparatus should always be filled to the same level? What are we trying to do here? We want to make sure कि हमने volume measure करना है. Same level का मतलब ये है कि उसके बगैर वो काम नहीं करेगा. Obviously, you can do it for every instrument that you have, but one that depends on you doing that is D. Because if you don't do that, then D will not be able to give you a right measurement. Do you notice that it has just one value and the rest are graduated multiple times and this is only one? So pipette is the one that measures just one value, one volume, and it does it really well. So it has to be filled to the same level every time. The diagram shows the structure of two forms of carbon. These forms are called allotropes. And the right one is graphite. You can see this dotted line represents weak van der Waals forces. On the left side, we have diamond, which has a strong tetrahedral lattice. Which of these conducts electricity? Graphite does because it has free electrons. So Y does and X does not. So this is going to be C. Okay. An aqueous solution of zinc chloride is tested by adding reagents. We know that zinc is the one that dissolves in both sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide by forming a white precipitate. It dissolves in both of them, zinc ion. And chloride, the test for any halide ion is that you dissolve it in silver nitrate. But before that, we usually acidify the thing with nitric acid so that if there is any carbonate, it just reacts with it. So those are the two tests that should come to your mind when you're doing this. So reagents added to zinc chloride, acidified barium nitrate. Barium nitrate is a test for sulfate. Why? Because barium sulfate is white. In this one, barium nitrate will react and form barium chloride, which is going to be soluble in water, so there won't be any precipitate forming. So this one's wrong. Aqueous ammonia that we use to test for the cation, and we know the zinc forms a white precipitate that dissolves. So that's what's happening in B. So that's our answer. But I'll still consider the rest. Sodium hydroxide, it will form a white precipitate and zinc will dissolve again in this. And with powdered copper, nothing will happen because zinc is more reactive than copper. Yeah, if you had something that was more reactive than zinc, then it would have reacted and gray zinc would have come out as a result of a redox reaction. तो अगर यहाँ पे मैग्नीशियम ऐड कर देता तो हमें ग्रे प्रेसिपिटेट ऑफ zinc नजर आ जाता. But again, it would be hard to separate it from magnesium, which is also gray. Which statement about the particles is correct? Now, if you notice these particles, they are isoelectronic. Isoelectronic means that they have all the same number of electrons. Fluoride has gained an electron, making it 10. Neon has 10 electrons naturally. And sodium ion has lost an electron. So they all have the same number of electrons, 10 electrons in them. They all contain more electrons than protons is wrong because that's only true for fluoride because that's the one that has gained electrons. Sodium has lost electrons, so it contains more protons. B option is they all contain more neutrons than protons. That's only true for sodium ion because it has 12 neutrons. How do I know? I subtract 23 and 11 to get the number of neutrons. The other two had 10 neutrons, so this is a false claim. They all contain the same number of electrons. That is true. They are all isoelectronic, as I said. So C is our answer in this one. And last is they all contain same number of protons. That would only be true for same element, which isn't the case here. So C is our answer. The table shows some properties of four substances, which substance is an ionic compound. Now, ionic compound के यहाँ पे examiner आपसे चार properties discuss कर रहा है. Melting point high होना चाहिए, conducts electricity when solid, नहीं होना चाहिए, ये high होना चाहिए, dissolves in water, most likely, लेकिन ये भी होता है कि most ionic compounds don't dissolve. So this might be possible, ज़रूरी नहीं कि ऐसा हो. And conducts electricity in aqueous solution has to be true. So this is a question mark thing. This can be true, this cannot be true. We just have to look for an option that works for us. So in this one, we can see that the only option that fulfills the other three requirements is B, right? So that's the one that we're going to go with. I personally think it's talking about sodium chloride because that melts at 801. But the rest of it, even if I do not know about the solubility, I can use the other three to figure that one out. Okay? Because dissolves in water always can be questionable thing depending on what salt you have. So this is going to be B, because high melting point does not conduct as solid and does conduct as aqueous solution. All right. 4 samples are spotted onto chromatography paper. It is known that one of these samples is pure compound Q. That means Q will only show one spot. It is pure, so that is one spot. Okay. A separate sample of pure compound Q is also spotted. Okay. ठीक है. The paper is placed in a solvent. ठीक है. अब वो कह रहा है कि किसी एक के अंदर Q है और बाकी में एक प्योर Q भी उसने कर दिया. तो आप देखो, we'll use the horizontal line test, and horizontal line test basically tells me कि जहां पर Q है उस लेवल पे कोई चीज होनी चाहिए जिसमें Q होगा. So here you can see that 1 and 2 both have Q in them because they're on the same horizontal level. All right, so what is it saying? The highest level that anything has traveled is sample 4. So sample 4 has traveled the furthest. And sample 2 is a pure compound Q because एक spot है और Q के level पे है. So this is going to be D. All right. How many of the molecules contain only one covalent bond? This question has been repeated 3 times in the last 10 years. So the only way to solve this, the best way to solve this would be that you make a Louis diagram for this. So this is H with Cl, and this is nitrogen with triple bond, and this is oxygen with double bond. Okay. So one covalent bond किसमें? In तीनों में. So there are 3 of them that have one single covalent bond. So it's going to be B. Which statement about sulfur and its compounds are correct? Sulfur is in group 4. Sulfur is in group 6 and has 6 outer shells. That is true for sulfur. आप periodic table से उसको verify कर सकते हो. In hydrogen sulfide, sulfur shares 1 electron with each hydrogen atom. That is true because we know that sulfur being in group 6 behaves exactly like oxygen in this case. So अगर आपको H2O का structure आता है, आपको H2S का structure भी आता है, जो कि ऐसा होगा. So sulfur has shared 1 electron with each hydrogen atom, लेकिन बात यह है कि 1 electron अकेला नहीं उसने share किया. एक इलेक्ट्रॉन उसके पास हाइड्रोजन ने भी किया. So sulfur का सिर्फ एक होगा और बाकी दूसरे का होगा. तो this is true. Sulfur dioxide is used as a bleach. That is true. Sulfur dioxide is used as bleach for wood pulp when used in paper industry. So because all 3 are facts, all 3 are true, A हमारा आंसर होगा. All right. 50 cm cube of 0.1 mole per dm cube silver nitrate is added to this much sodium chloride. Silver है, chloride है, आपको पता है कि reaction होगा और solid silver chloride बनेगा. ठीक है, पहली बात तो ये. दूसरा क्या चीज बनेगी? सोडियम नाइट्रेट बनेगा. ओके, सो सोडियम नाइट्रेट बन रहा है, सिल्वर क्लोराइड बन रहा है, एंड द रिएक्शन इज गोइंग टू बी सच दैट वील हैव 1 mole reacting with 1 mole of the other. So that's the equation. Now we want to know which one is in excess क्योंकि it's possible कि that will be left over. अब यहाँ पे आप उसको कैसे कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं? That because you know the mole ratio is 1 to 1, just multiply them. In fact, don't even divide it by 1000. You just want to know कि वो same होगा कि नहीं होगा. So 50 times 0.1 is 5, and 150 times 0.05 is going to be 7.5 if I'm not wrong. You can confirm. I'm doing it mentally. Now this one is in excess. Okay, sodium chloride is in excess. So that means we will have sodium chloride left at the end. We will have silver chloride because it's formed as a product, and we will also have sodium nitrate. So there's going to be sodium nitrate, there's going to be sodium chloride, and in addition, we will also have water because that's one in which they're dissolved. Okay. Nitrogen monoxide and oxygen react to form nitrogen dioxide. This is a reaction that happens in atmosphere. This is a reaction that happens in car engines, and this is a reaction that we try to undo in catalytic converters. What is the maximum volume of nitrogen dioxide? That could be obtained when 1 dm cube of nitrogen monoxide reacts with 2 of oxygen. The one thing you have to remember for this is that mole ratio is the same as volume ratio. That's one of the basic laws that Avogadro gave us. The mole ratio is the same as volume ratio. So over here, we can see that the ratio in which NO NO2 react is 2 to 1, which means अगर आपके पास limiting react यहाँ पर NO है, which it is because that's the one you have in less quantities, then one of this will react with 0.05 of this. लेकिन what will it produce? It will produce 1 dm cube of nitrogen dioxide. क्यों? Mole ratio is 2 to 2. So it will produce 1 dm cube will produce 1 dm cube. That's the ratio. So how much of nitrogen dioxide can you produce? 1. Because uske baad nitrogen monoxide is going to run out and you will only have extra oxygen left over, जो कि फिर किससे react करेगी? वो है ही नहीं. All right. Dilute sulfuric acid is electrolyzed between inert electrodes. I told you that if you have dilute acid, then it is water that breaks down, which means hydrogen आएगी, oxygen आएगी. अगर आपके पास concentrated acid है, तो it is the acid that breaks down. ये इस बात ज़हन में रखें. Dilute acid, products from water, and concentrated acid, products from acid. ये चीज है. So अगर आपके पास concentrated HCl है तो हाइड्रोजन और क्लोरीन होगी, लेकिन dilute HCl है तो हाइड्रोजन और ऑक्सीजन होगी क्योंकि water is the one that's breaking down. So what's happening here? Hydrogen is released at the negative electrode. That is true because hydrogen is the one that's going to go. Oxygen is released at the positive electrode again. We have dilute acid, so oxygen comes from water. So yeah, that is the one being given off. Sulfur dioxide is released at the positive electrode. That won't be true. Sulfuric acid अगर खुद breakdown करता तो sulfur dioxide देता, लेकिन यहाँ पर acid breakdown नहीं कर रहा. This is dilute, not concentrated. The acid becomes more concentrated. Yeah, because the more water you break down, the less water is left over. So concentration of acid increases. क्योंकि solution में से पानी चला जा रहा है ना. So 1, 2, and 4 are correct in this. If you have any question at any stage, feel free to ask. Cesium is in the same group of the periodic table as sodium. Okay, so it's in group 1, which means the properties we would expect from it should be the same as sodium. Which products are obtained from electrolysis of concentrated cesium chloride? So when you have concentrated salt, that salt will break down as well. But on the cathode, we will get hydrogen because that is less reactive. Okay? So it's going to be one of these two. And the products that remain, so you have hydrogen and hydroxide and cesium and chloride. These are the ions that you have. Hydrogen goes on the other side, chloride goes on the other side. What do you have left over? Cesium hydroxide. So that is true. So C is your answer. The diagram shows the apparatus for electrolysis of copper 2 sulfate. ठीक है. यहां पर उसने dilute या concentrated हमें नहीं बताया. One reason for that is that copper is less reactive than hydrogen. So no matter what happens, whether it's dilute or concentrated, copper is the one that's going to go. In experiment X, both electrodes are inert. In experiment Y, both electrodes are made of copper. Okay. On which electrodes is solid metal deposited? देखें, कॉपर ने जब भी रिड्यूस होना है और कॉपर मेटल में बनाना है, इट डजंट मैटर कि आपके पास इलेक्ट्रोड्स कौन से हैं. So it's going to go and it's going to attach itself or deposit itself on the negative electrode in both of them. So the negative electrodes, as you can see, you have electrode number 2 and electrode number 4. So that's where all copper ions will go regardless of what the electrode is made of. हाँ, फर्क ये पड़ता है कि this will decolorize after a while because the copper in it will be moving towards electrode 2, which means there is less copper ion left over. But over here, that copper will come from the electrode into the solution, replenishing the copper ion. So इसका color maintain रहेगा. ये blue का blue रहेगा, but electrode 3 will lose its mass. वहां पर उसका color change हो जाएगा. The energy profile diagram for the forward reaction of a reversible reaction is shown. ठीक है. For the reverse reaction, इसका मतलब है हमने यहाँ से देखना है इसको. Which row correctly shows the sign of activation energy? Sign of activation energy, no matter what kind of reaction it is, it's always positive because energy has to be given in for any reaction to happen. ठीक है, तो A और B तो वहीं पे cancel हो गए. Okay. And the type of enthalpy change. Right now, this is endothermic. So in the reverse option, it will be exothermic. So it will be negative delta H. So it is exothermic in the reverse direction and it is positive. So that's your answer. D. The formation of liquid water from hydrogen oxygen may occur in 3 stages. ठीक है? क्या stages हैं? In the first stage, then which one do you not get? I'll do it again. So it's saying that the energy profile diagram for the forward direction is shown. This diagram right now is the forward direction. In the reverse direction, it's going to be the exact opposite of it. और वो हमसे क्वेश्चन रिवर्स रिएक्शन के पूछ रहा है, तो वो इसके ऑपोजिट वाले के पूछ रहा है. So our activation energy is positive and delta H is negative. Okay, so that's what the questions are about. So activation energy is positive. It's always positive, regardless of exo or endothermic. And delta H in the forward direction, as you can see, is endo. In the backward direction, it will be exo. I hope that clears it up. All right. Formation of liquid water from hydrogen and oxygen may occur in 3 stages. Okay, what's happening here? Here, atoms are the ones that are left over, so there is bond breaking. Here, bonds are being made. And here, it is just losing energy. The particles are slowing down. This is again losing energy, kinetic energy. Which stages would be exothermic? The ones in which energy is given out. So 2 is bond making is exothermic. 3 is exothermic because energy in gases is higher, energy in liquid is lower, kinetic energy. So they have lost that kinetic energy. So it's going to be 2 and 3 only. In the first one, bonds are being broken, and to do that, you will have to supply a lot of energy. So that is endothermic. In 4 separate experiments, 1, 2, 3, and 4, nitric acid was added to excess marble chips, and the volume of carbon dioxide formed was measured. In all of them, we can see that we had excess marble chips, so that is the one in excess. All right. So what's happening now? हर जगह वो concentration वगैरह change कर रहा है. अब इसको देखते हैं जरा. 1 and 2 are producing the same amount. So 1 and 2 have the same concentration. And 3 and 4 are also producing the same amount, so they also have the same concentration. So 3 and 4 की concentration same है, और 1 and 2 की concentration same है. But 1 is faster because it is possible कि 1 की amount ज़्यादा थी compared to nitric. Amount ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकती. Maybe the temperature was higher. ठीक है? And same for 3, that 3 and 4 had the same concentration, but maybe 3 was happening at a higher temperature. Okay, let's see. A lower concentration of acid was used in experiment 3 than in experiment 1. That is true because you were getting less product out. So concentration increase करने से product amount will also increase. So this is true. So A is our answer. Let's consider the others. Experiment 4 was faster than experiment 3. That is clearly wrong because the sooner anything becomes a flat line, the faster the reaction. And secondly, the gradient is higher in 3 than 4. The acid used in experiment 2 was of a lower concentration than experiment 1. That is wrong. They both have the same concentration because they're producing the same amount. The temperature of the acid was same in experiment 1 and 2. Again, 1 is faster, so temperature must have been higher than 2. The equation shows the formation of sulfur trioxide in the contact process. What would decrease the yield of sulfur trioxide? All right. According to LCP, Le Cheltier principle, whatever you do, equilibrium goes against it. Okay. So if you add more oxygen, it will try to use it up. So more SO3 is produced. So reaction forward ko jayega. So decrease in yield to nahi hua, increase in yield ho jayega. ठीक है? अच्छा. So ये नहीं हो सकता. An increase in pressure. On the left side, you have 3 moles of gas. On the right side, you have 2 moles of gas, which means that the more pressure you have, the faster it drives it towards the right. So this is again driving it forward, decrease in yield nahi ho sakta. An increase in temperature. This is an exothermic process, which means the more heat you have, the less it goes forward. It tries to drive it back. It tries to absorb that heat energy that you give it. Okay? So that means that it's going to drive it backwards. So this might be our answer. The removal of sulfur trioxide from reaction. The less quantity you have of SO3, the faster it goes towards the right. So again, D is not the answer. C is confirmed. Zinc reacts with dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, this is a redox reaction. From this equation, what can be deduced about the reaction? It is redox. क्यों? क्योंकि zinc is an element on left side and it's ion on the right side. Or hydrogen is ion on the left side and gas element on the right side. So this is true. बाकी हम देख लेते हैं. It says that it is exothermic. Yes, might be, might not be. We do not know for sure. Zinc is acting as a base. Zinc is not accepting any hydrogen ion, so it's not acting as a base. Zinc is acting as a catalyst. That would have been true अगर बाद में भी zinc element produce हो रहा था. वो तो हुआ नहीं. वो तो ion बन गया, reaction कर गया. So that's why A is the answer. All right. Consider the three reactions. What is true for all three reactions? देख लेते हैं. Reaction between ammonium chloride and calcium hydroxide. Ammonium chloride is acid, calcium hydroxide is base. They react, they produce ammonia gas, water, and all that. This is neutralization reaction. Ethane burns in air. Ethane produces carbon dioxide, steam, and that's it. Reaction between ethanoic acid and ethanol produces ester and water. तो अभी यहाँ पे हमारे पास सॉल्ट बना है, अमोनिया गैस बनी है, एंड वाटर बना है. ठीक है, इन तीनों रिएक्शंस में क्या हो रहा है? फर्स्ट इज न्यूट्रलाइजेशन, सेकंड इज कंबशन, थर्ड इज एस्टेरिफिकेशन. So what is common in all of them? All of them are producing water. So that is our answer. Which statement about weak acids is correct? देख लेते हैं. Weak acids partially ionized करते हैं. That is the definition. So yeah, this is true. They do not react with metals is wrong. They do react with some metals, the ones that are more reactive. But वो weak acid की खास बात नहीं. That's true for any acid. They do not react with strong alkalis. Again, wrong. Acids react with alkalis. The solution have pH in the range 0 to 2. That's reserved for strong acids. So ये नहीं हो सकता. Which gas dissolves in water to give a solution with a pH greater than 7? So that means this whole thing is saying it's a basic gas. It's an alkaline gas. ठीक है? So alkaline gas हमारे पास ammonia है, and that's it. Zan's question is that is P2 cancelled for sure. So far it is. For IGCSE they have reversed the decision, but for O levels it is cancelled so far. Element X forms an oxide of formula X2O5. In which group of the periodic table is X likely to be found? यहाँ पर हम देख लेते हैं कि हमारे पास ऑक्साइड है और ग्रुप देख लेते हैं कि 5 यहाँ पे आएगा, 2 यहाँ पे आएगा, तो X पॉजिटिव 5 हो सकता है, O नेगेटिव 2 हो सकता है. दैट इज वन ऑप्शन. और इस ऑप्शन से हमें पता ही लग रहा है कि वो ग्रुप 5 में. श्योर. सो ये एक पॉसिबिलिटी. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि वो सिर्फ यही होगा, बट देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी. एनी अदर इज नॉट लाइकली. एलिमेंट M इज अ टिपिकल ट्रांजिशन मेटल. टिपिकल ट्रांजिशन मेटल का मतलब क्या है? हाई मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, कलर्ड कंपाउंड्स, गुड इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी, वेरिएबल ऑक्सीडेशन स्टेट्स. ये सारी ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स की बात है. तो ये वाली बात गलत है, बाकी सब ट्रू है. An atom of element E forms a white oxide of the formula EO. What is it telling me? It's telling me that if oxygen is -2, E is +2. So EO, पहली बात तो ये होगा. Second, it's saying it's white, which means कि it is possible कि वो transition metal नहीं होगा, because it's white. So calcium and copper were both possible, but calcium is the one that's going to be white. Copper white नहीं होगा, उसका कोई ना कोई color होगा. We also know that copper 2 oxide is black. That's something we have to remember. So in any ways, this is calcium oxide, which we also call as lime. The table shows the proton number of 4 elements. Which statement is correct about them? Let's see. Q is a metal. Actually, Q is fluorine. Metal नहीं हो सकता. R is a metal because it is sodium. T is chlorine. Z is potassium. So let's see. Q is more reactive than T. Q is more reactive than T. That is true. Fluorine is more reactive than chlorine. R is more reactive than C. Actually, the bigger the metal atom, the faster it reacts, the higher the reactivity. So K is bigger atom than sodium, so ये गलत है. T and Z are in the same period. Actually, chlorine is in group period 3 and potassium is in period 4, so B is confirmed. The result of experiment. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
सर जस्ट फॉर प्रैक्टिस पर्पसेस तो हम लोग P1 की जो तैयारी करनी होगी तो IGCSE का P2 करना शुरू हो जाए.
मैंने ये पहले भी बोला था उन बच्चों को जिनका सिर्फ पेपर 2 है, पेपर 1 है, कि they should do IGCSE paper 2 because there are some questions in there that are very intuitive and they test your concepts. So IGCSE paper 2 is a good choice. Paper 1 I wouldn't suggest. Paper 2 definitely.
सर मैं आपको सही बताऊं ना सर, मुझे कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं है. और उसके मुज़फ़्फ़रात में तारीख का वक्त हो जाता है.
नहीं, अभी 40 मिनट रहते हैं. We have some time. All right. Results of experiments involving 4 metals W, X, Y, and Z and their ions are shown. What is the order of reactivity of the 4 metals? Let's see. Y is replacing Z, so Y is more reactive, Z is less reactive. W cannot replace X, so X is more reactive, W is less reactive. Z is replacing X. इसका मतलब है कि Y सबसे reactive है, Z X से ज़्यादा reactive है और X W से ज़्यादा reactive है. So Y Z X W, that's the way it's going. So most reactive is Y, and that means C is the answer. 27 question is metals have a structure of positive ions and a sea of electron. ये question इतनी बार repeat होता है. देख लेते हैं. The alloy brass is less malleable या more malleable than pure copper. Alloys are traditionally less malleable because they have metal की rows ऐसे होती हैं. They are same size. Alloys के different size के होते हैं. तो different size होने की वजह से उनको bend करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. So they are less malleable. Brass is dashed to conduct electricity. It is able to conduct electricity because they all have free electrons that are moving around randomly. ठीक है? तो that is true. Able है और less malleable है. Which two substances are removed from the bottom of blast furnace? Blast furnace में क्या होता है? आपके पास ऐसे करके होती है. यहाँ से हम उसमें चीज़ें ऐड करते हैं, यहाँ से हॉट एयर ऐड करते हैं. हमें दो चीज़ें मिलती हैं. एक हमें स्लैग मिलती है और एक हमें आयरन मिलता है. ठीक है, ये दो चीज़ें हमें मिलती हैं इन पे. तो आयरन एंड स्लैग आर द वंस व्हिच इज 2 and 4 D. Aluminium is used in the manufacture of aeroplanes. Why? There are two reasons. Aluminium has less density. Aluminium is strong and it has a layer of oxide on it. लेकिन अब इनमें आंसर्स देख लेते हैं. A is true कि लो डेंसिटी है, एयरक्राफ्ट का वेट कम होता है और वो स्ट्रांग होते हैं. इट इज अ गुड कंडक्टर. हमने एरोप्लेन से कंडक्ट तो नहीं करवाना ना. इट इज पोर कंडक्टर ऑफ हीट इज एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग. इट इज कवर्ड इन अनरिएक्टिव लेयर ऑफ एल्यूमिनियम कार्बोनेट. ये भी गलत है. एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड की लेयर होती है. एंड ओके, हाउ कैन द रिएक्शन विद नाइट्रोजन एंड हाइड्रोजन बी डिस्क्राइब्ड? नाइट्रोजन एंड हाइड्रोजन, आप ये लिख लेंगे तो आपको खुद ही ज़हन में आ जाएगा कि इससे तो अमोनिया बनता है. इट्स अ रिवर्सिबल रिएक्शन. देयर यू गो. Bottle fruit juice may have small amounts of sulfur dioxide added. What's the purpose of this? Sulfur dioxide क्यों add करते हैं? Because it kills any bacteria present. क्यों? Sulfur dioxide when it dissolves in water it makes sulfurous acid, और जो कि एक weak acid है, लेकिन वो pH change होने की वजह से बैक्टीरिया की cell wall I think break down कर जाती है, तो वो खत्म हो जाते हैं. So B is the answer in this. Dissolved substances in water can cause eutrophication. Eutrophication will be taken out of the syllabus next year, but for this year you need to know this. How many of the ions show cause this effect? Eutrophication is caused because of nitrate ions, phosphate ions. इनकी वजह से होती है. ठीक है? So that means our answer is going to be nitrate and phosphate, two of them. Basically any ion that encourages the growth of plants. Algae की growth ज़्यादा होती है जिससे eutrophication होता है. Which list contain only gases that are always present in unpolluted air? Basically the gases that are in pure air. अब pure air तो वैसे कुछ नहीं कहना चाहिए, unpolluted air ही कहना चाहिए. So oxygen होता है, nitrogen होती है, carbon dioxide होती है, argon होती है, neon होती है, yes. Carbon monoxide नहीं होती, nitrogen dioxide नहीं होती. They are both results of pollution. ओजोन होती है क्योंकि ओजोन नेचुरल है, लेकिन नाइट्रोजन डाइऑक्साइड नहीं होती. सो ये भी हम ऑप्शन नहीं ले सकते. सो दैट लीव्स अस विद बी एज द मोस्ट साउंड ऑप्शन फॉर ऑल दीज थिंग्स. 1 mole of each alkane undergoes complete combustion. Which alkane will produce 7 moles of product? Let's see. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और वाटर तो सब में प्रोड्यूस होना है, ठीक है। तो पहले में एक कार्बन है तो एक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड प्रोड्यूस होगी और 4 हाइड्रोजन है तो 2 वाटर प्रोड्यूस होगा, तो टोटल 1 and 2 3 मोल प्रोडक्ट बन जाएगा। इसमें 2 कार्बन है तो 2 कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड and 6 hydrogen means 3 water, so that is 5 of the products. 3 carbon dioxide because 3 carbons and 4 water because 8 hydrogen, so this is 7, which is our answer. And this is going to produce 4 carbon dioxide and 5 water, so this is 9 as the answer. So you see there's a very neat pattern here, so the third one is producing this third odd number of products. Ethanoic acid is found when ethanol is reacted with acidified potassium manganate 7. This thing is a oxidizing agent. Okay. So ethanoic acid is formed when ethanol is oxidized. So ethanol को oxidize करते हैं तो ethanoic acid बनता है. So this is oxidation. Structure of अच्छा यहाँ पे oxidation कैसे है ये? Using the definition that ethanol में ये चीज होती है और ethanoic acid में ये चीज होती है. So what's the difference? Number one, an oxygen is added, and number two, 2 hydrogen are taken out. So that is both the definition, 2 definitions of oxidation happening. One is removal of hydrogen जो कि हुआ, ये दोनों remove हो गए, and addition of oxygen जो कि हुआ, add हो गई. Structure of compound X is shown. Which statement is not correct? Okay. This is an alcohol because of OH. There are 4 carbons, so there is butanol. X is an alcohol because it contains an OH group. That's factually correct, but is not the answer. X is an isomer of propanol. Propanol में 3 कार्बन होंगे, इसमें 4 हैं. Isomer में number of atoms वो same रहता है. So this is not correct. X would burn in air to form carbon dioxide and water. All hydrocarbons, alcohols, carboxylic acid, वो सब ये करते हैं. X would have a higher boiling point than ethanol. That is true because ethanol की निस्बत इसमें intermolecular forces stronger होंगी. Ethanol में इतनी strong नहीं होती. After which conversion does the product contain more carbon atoms than the reactants? Okay. नाम से देखते हैं. Ethanol 2 होंगे, ethanoic 2 होंगे. Same रहा. Ethanol 2 होंगे, ethyl में 2 होंगे, ethanoate में 2 होंगे, total हो गए 4. So 2 to 4. So this is the answer. Ethene to ethane, 2 to 2. Ethene to ethanol, 2 to 2. So B is the answer. Molecules 1 to 4 are unbranched hydrocarbons. Okay, straight chain यानी कि. Which row correctly identifies these hydrocarbons as alkanes or alkenes? You just have to identify the general formula. Alkenes have double the hydrogen than carbon. So this is alkene, this is alkene, this is alkane, this is alkane. So हमारे पास 1 and 3 are alkane and 2 and 4 are alkene. So that's the answer. Which polymer contains only 3 different elements? 3 different elements. Let's see. Protein में 4 होते हैं. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen. Polythene, इसमें carbon और hydrogen होता है और कुछ नहीं होता. Polypropene, again carbon और hydrogen होता है क्योंकि ये दोनों हाइड्रोकार्बन है. हाइड्रोकार्बन से जो चीज बनती है उसमें सिर्फ कार्बन और हाइड्रोजन होता है. स्टार्च में कार्बन, हाइड्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन तीनों होंगे. It's a sugar based on sugar. So D is the answer. Which statement about macromolecules is correct? Okay, let's see. Nylon जो कि polyamide होता है जिसमें amide linkage होती है, and terylene are both polyesters. Actually that's wrong. Terylene fats के जैसा होता है और nylon protein जैसा होता है. So they're clearly different. Proteins and nylons have the same monomer units. That is wrong. They have the same linkage. Monomer units are different. Protein is made from amino acids and nylon is made from diamines and dicarboxylic acids. Proteins have the same amide linkage as nylon. Yes, that is true because they both have amide linkage. हाँ हम प्रोटीन में उसको पेप्टाइड बोलते हैं और नाइलॉन में एमाइड बोलते हैं. नाम डिफरेंट हो सकता है, चीज सेम होती है. Terylene and fats are esters. That is true. They're both polyesters, but with different linkage. That's wrong. Polyesters वो चीज होती है जिसकी linkage ester linkage होती है, तो ये तो हो नहीं सकता.